I loved him so much. It was a dark and silent night when I began telling my story to them. I knew you, the listeners, would question my sanity, but I asked that you listen carefully. I'm not crazy. A truly insane person wouldn't be able to recount events with such precision and clarity. Every detail I'm about to share is crucial to understanding what really happened. I've always been tormented by my husband's phone. It wasn't his character that disturbed me. He never directly harmed me. But that cursed device, which he never let go of for a second, made me completely insecure. The fear of being betrayed gnawed at my mind, fueling a torrent of jealousy, envy, anger, and suspicion. Every notification, every message received made my heart race and my wild imagination conjure up scenes of infidelity. I spent sleepless nights, obsessed with what might be hidden in that little device. It was as if the phone had a life of its own, a silent and insidious rival that was always present, stealing my peace. I began to notice every move he made, every smile as he looked at the screen, every whisper during quick calls.
Hello.
My sick mind turned all of this into irrefutable proof of betrayal. That cursed device became a symbol of everything I feared, a catalyst for my growing paranoia. Every day, my anger and frustration grew, and my mind screamed for a definitive solution. I had to put an end to this. I needed to do something to get my peace back. Anything. I want to make it clear that I loved my husband deeply. He never directly harmed me, and perhaps he never intended to betray me. But my mind was already poisoned by jealousy and the phone. That horrible device became the epicenter of my torment, the catalyst of an obsession that consumed me entirely.
Are you okay?
He asked one morning, noticing my tense expression. I smiled, trying to hide the boiling hatred inside me. I'm fine. Just a rough night. That's all. I replied, hoping he wouldn't notice the truth. For a week, I meticulously planned every step. Every night, at midnight, I watched as he slept, holding that phone. It was always in his hands, preventing me from carrying out my mission. I had to wait, and patience was the key to success. Finally, one night, something changed. He ended up falling asleep on the living room couch while watching TV. My heart raced, but I stayed calm. This was the moment. He was sleeping deeply, and I could feel his vulnerability.
Who's there?
He murmured, his voice sleepy. I didn't respond. I remained still, waiting. After some time, he tried to relax, but I knew he wouldn't be able to sleep again. I was there, ready for the next step. I moved silently, controlling every movement. The flashlight beam focused directly on the phone, and I felt a mix of triumph and terror. It was time. With a quick, decisive move, I lunged at him. He was weak, and I was strong in my determination. Feeling his life slip away was both a relief and a torture. After the act, I remained calm. The body wasn't the problem. I needed to hide the evidence. I stared at the phone, not knowing how many minutes or hours passed. I looked at that device, turning it in my hand, no longer feeling any pain, resentment, or hatred. The phone became what it had always been, a lifeless object. And now it was clear to me that the husband had always been the real culprit. Nothing would be found. I dismembered each part carefully and hid them under the floorboards. I turned off the phone and hid it as well. The morning brought the police, alerted by neighbors who had heard a scream the night before. They knocked on the door, and I greeted them with a calm smile. "Good morning, officers. How can I help you?" They explained the situation, and I, maintaining my composure, invited them in to search the house. They inspected every room, and I accompanied them, confident. We chatted amicably, and I invited them to sit in the living room. I offered them chairs right over the floorboards hiding the body. I felt victorious, invincible. They would find nothing.
Everything seems in order here.
One of the officers said, standing up. I smiled, but then something started to change. A sound, faint at first, began to grow. It was a rhythmic, insistent sound. My heart raced. I tried to hide it, to talk, but the sound grew louder. It was a vibration, but it wasn't my heart. "What is that?" I asked, laughing nervously. The officers looked at me, confused.
We don't hear anything.
They replied, but I heard it, and the sound increased, deafening. I began to sweat, feeling madness approach. I couldn't take it anymore. I stood up abruptly, shouting, "Stop! I admit everything." It's his phone, vibrating under the floor. The officers looked at me, surprised. I fell to my knees, defeated by the incessant vibration I thought I had silenced forever. They looked at each other, unsure what to do next. Finally, one of them began lifting the floorboards. There was no body, no sign of death, no sign of death. The officers gently lifted me, trying to understand the extent of my madness. As they led me outside, the sound of the phone continued to echo in my mind, an eternal reminder of what I had done, and the torment I could never escape. As they led me away, I heard a neighbor giving a statement to a policeman.
"Husband, she's lived alone for 10 years. Alone for 10 years. For 10 years.
10 years.
Alone for 10 years.
I looked back, trying to find some sanity in those words. That woman was crazy.